I like the things in your background. Are those real? Are those real number plates?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
California, Texas, California, and then New Mexico. Yeah.
I like that.
So if I leave Oklahoma, I'll have my Oklahoma stuff hanging up there.
Nice.
Hi there. Welcome to the More Sibyl podcast. This is a podcast for Blacks, Asians, and those who love them. I am Mo, and I am your host, ready to spark your curiosity as I take you on this adventurous ride of exploring cultures through the stories of my guests from all over the world. On this show, we get really personal, discussing salient issues that are relevant to our contemporary age and also building community around them. As our guests exercise courage and vulnerability in sharing their life's experiences, we hope that in turn you are inspired by them and that you get the courage needed to set your own stories free. Enjoy the ride, and thank you so much for listening. Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. This is Mo. For those joining us for the first time, welcome. And as you know how we do it on the show, have conversations and see how we can just, learn and also connect people together. And along that narrative today, I have someone that I have been chasing in a very purposeful way because I met them through a friend who introduced us. So shout out to Crab, aka Yinka Jola, one of my top anti-fans. And I know I love Yinka very much, even though I'm going to have to take this part out. So when she told me about Gwane, I knew that, okay, when you like somebody and they tell you about somebody else, you know that they're quality people. And yeah. I'm friends with him on WhatsApp, and every now and then I would, see his status. And I think I kind of have an idea of what he's like. But so this episode will actually be the first time we're actually talking at length. And so I don't really know a lot about him, but we're going to explore a lot of topics. Some things might just not fit together, but again, it's a conversation with two people who just want to learn and also, I think learn, that's it. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ojogbane Okolo. He's the co-host of the Candy Talk podcast. He describes himself as a Marcus Aurelius stan, and he's also into C.S. Lewis. We'll be talking a little bit about crypto and NFTs, that non-fungible token that has been going everywhere. And he resides in the UK. So Ojogbane, hi and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Mo. It's a pleasure and it's my honor to be here. I was saying before we started recording, I kind of felt, I was reflecting on it today, and I was like, I think I've played a bit of too much of a hard to get guest, and I'm just happy that that's all under the that's all gone now, and we're here together.
It's okay. Yeah. I knew where you were. I mean, I knew that I could just bug you whenever I wanted to. And I think seeing your WhatsApp status and seeing things were up to, I was like, it actually had me by enough time because the story was just sipping like a good cup of hot tea. So let's unpack and start from the very beginning. I like asking the first questions first. Yeah. I know you're Nigerian. Yeah. Tell us how your childhood was like and what precipitated the move to the UK.
Okay, so basically, so I was born in the UK, and then so I was born when it was my dad and my mom they came here to study. My dad did his master's degree around the time I was born, and then we went back to Nigeria because he came on scholarship and had a job back in Nigeria. So with the Benue State government, I think when I was like 2. Grew up in Nigeria. I grew up the first few years of my life was growing up in my hometown. It was good. It was nice. It was fun. Things were good then, in Nigeria. And so it was fun until things were not so good. So my childhood was, how to put it, it was in a house that was full of love and full of a lot of people. We had relatives, we had cousins. Our house was always full, and so we always had people around. So it was always I grew up in that kind of environment. It was fun. Like every other child, every other boy, we all played football and all of those things, while we're kids and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's pretty much my childhood. I don't know. I'm trying to look for something that really stands out, but like, I was just like a typical kid growing up in Nigeria, but in my hometown, and then growing up, into my teens in Lagos.
I mean, it doesn't have to stand out. It's your story, and yeah.
Exactly. So I grew up into my teens, and then all of this time I went to boarding house school in my state as well, Federal Government College Ojogbane in Kogi State.
Oh, I went to Federal Government Girls College, Oyo.
You see, so
Unity schools,
we're all Unity students.
Pro Unitate, yes.
Pro Unitate. That's it. So I went to that school, and that was I think one of the things that going to secondary school as a boarding student did for me was that it taught me how to be resilient quite quickly, and taught me how unfair life is, because you know how it can be. It's brutal, it's just brutal. You know how it is. There's a seniority. There's all of that going on. You get
hierarchy of life. Like you can't. It's just what it is.
So hierarchical. And then you also see some of those things that play out where like when you're in your fifth year, you get the most hate from the final year students because you're the one that is like closest to them, and so we went through all of that. I learned a lot of life skills from there. How to just. I think I got to today right now. I go for a lot of walks, and I walk in the night, and people are like, "Aren't you scared?" or stuff like that. I think I got that from going to boarding house school, because I remember then going.
Just walk, yeah.
The food from the school wasn't good. It wasn't good enough. So what we were doing was, as boys, we'll go through the bush. We had a path through the bush. We'll go out at night. We had this lady that had like a bucateria that we called her Mama Joy.
She brought
Till today, we can never forget that name. And then we all go out. I'm talking 10, 12, 11. Sometimes I used to go by myself. Sometimes we go with friends. So that kind of like the training that we got from that was, I really don't have fear of the dark per se. I don't really have fear of being alone. I don't really have those kind of fears. So those are good things. Obviously, I wouldn't put my child through that. I would never.
It's different now.
Yeah, it's different. I don't know. I just feel that it does more damage than it does good. In my opinion, I could be wrong.
Depending on the individual, definitely. Yeah. I know people that went to the same school together, and our experiences are totally different. I mean, do I still have some trauma from school that came out? Of course, yes. Well, I mean, kind of like with you. What my school taught me was just that cultural curiosity, because we had people from all over, and I think that was the beauty of the Unity schools. They brought kids from all over the country. It was 100%. Like a mini NYSC camp, and 100%. You just found your people in an artificial environment where you have to make life, because school was always on lockdown. You could only leave, except illegally, but during holidays.
Like we did.
Exactly, like you guys did, but it was a very charged environment, and you learn to just grow up quickly. I learned responsibility. I was a mess before I entered there, and I came out just feeling ready to take on the world. So wow. I can do with little or nothing, or even much. I can abuse and abound, and I'm okay by myself. Nice. I also enjoy people. So, but I really credit my high school for building those life skills in me.
One skill I credit my high school for was it also taught me to take risks, and I think it has contributed to the kind of risk appetite that I have today. That's kind of contributed to it. The fact that I like to take that I'm comfortable with taking certain kind of risks, and obviously I've tempered it over the years, but it's something, it's a skill that I learned from being in that situation. Obviously, it wasn't the best. Kids, don't do it when you're in school. Don't go with it.
Yeah, they will learn. There's always a risk you have to take at a certain age. So 100%. So how long have you been living in the UK?
I've been in the UK now since 2007.
Oh wow, that's like 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years. Yeah, I've been here for ages now. Yeah.
Oh wow. So I'm just curious to know, like, I know, you probably didn't have to go through the difficulty of immigrating as far as having to like have a legal stay and go through visa issues because you were a UK citizen. Yeah. But above and beyond that, what were some of the challenges you had, just, acclimating back into the system? And is racism very, overt in your country?
Yeah. So I'll start from the first one. Obviously, like you said, because I was a citizen, it was quite straightforward. There's no problem. And then I had friends here already. I'd been here. I'd come to visit. So it wasn't completely a fresh. And then the funny thing was that the town I used to come to visit, was Coventry. That was the very same town that I came back to and I lived. Coventry is in the West Midlands. It's just about an hour by train from London. It's north of London. It's a very nice town. It's just close to Birmingham, the real Birmingham, the original Birmingham. For those of you in the States, I'm just joking. But
no, Alabama, not to be confused with one in Alabama.
Yeah, not Birmingham, Alabama, or Birmingham. So anyway, Coventry is very close to Birmingham, which is the second or third largest city, depending on who you're talking to in the UK, right? So settling down was quite straightforward. It was no problem. I had friends who were generous with their space, let me in. I got a job pretty quickly, even though it was like a very menial job, but it was a job. I was determined not to be on government, though. When I left Nigeria, I think it was one of the things I told myself that I was not going to. I knew that the way I started was the way you start in a place it would determine a lot of your direction. So I got a job. I was working in a warehouse. I did that for like a year. And then I worked with the government, then with Lloyd's Banking Group. And then my last role was with Deloitte. And I've been doing my own thing since beginning of this year. So that's the job side of things. In terms of immigration and all of that, we've answered that already. And like you, I knew who I was. I came from a country where, I wasn't, no one looked down on me or anything like that. Yeah. We're pretty. In Nigeria, is either you have money or you don't have money.
Don't,
so,
yeah.
So it wasn't a case of.
It was a different class. At least I could rise up,
Exactly. Your situation could change in Nigeria, So I didn't have that problem of being. I didn't notice. I'm not going to lie. I have not really had a what I'll say like in your face. I think I've had maybe like once or twice where someone has actually used the N-word at me. All the same. So that's the only experience I've had. In terms of like, in terms of like, as a black person, I'm not gonna lie. This country has been good to me. It's been good to me.
I think for you is you've always had that protective factor in the sense of having gone through boarding house and also the way you've been built up by the connection you had with your family. So moving to the UK wasn't going to, roughen you up because it was a place you were somewhat familiar with. And I guess even if you've had some bad experiences, your outlook about life in general will serve as protective mechanisms against them. And I asked that to really, see how we can support those that are moving, because a lot of Nigerians now are trying to escape that country, moving to Canada, moving to the UK, is, find your people and, all the resilience you've learned in Nigeria, use it to your advantage. you might start doing jobs that you didn't really think you were going to do just because, maybe you were a bank manager in Nigeria or a doctor, now you're cleaning toilets. Just know that nothing is permanent.
To be honest, sorry to cut you short there, and I only did that because I just come in, I didn't know I did better. But the truth of the matter is that any Nigerians who are highly skilled are coming in now, they don't even have to do that. I'm not even joking. They don't have to do that. Once there's a ready-made Nigerian community around here that will come around you and will get you into the right places like quite quickly. Like, we'll tell you what you need to do and get you. Just make sure before you come that you let your people here know, and they'll be like, "Yep, sorry, boom, boom, boom." You get in. You might probably have to just do, maybe like for a few weeks, but with the job situation currently, the job market currently, you're not gonna.
But I think it's also contingent on two things. One is you find the right people, and two is the quality of information you're getting from those people. Because I've had people
100%.
sow the seeds of frustration in you because it was rough for them. They think that it has to be rough for everybody. That's why whenever I talk about my rough experiences, I always make it seem like it might not be applicable to you, but this is what I went through, and this is what you need to do so you don't go through what I did. But sometimes we fall short of that. We just want to go with the sub stories and the frustrating stories, and like, oh yeah, if you don't listen to my advice, then I'm not ready to help you. So we have to still be careful who we listen to.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Finding the right people before you come here. Finding the right people is absolutely key.
Yeah.
Find the right people. So you don't even have to come to meet. Yeah, you don't even have to come to meet a community of people. Yeah, you can be in Nigeria already. You're already taking some, steps before you get into the country. But so as I was saying, this country has been good to me. It has been, net good to me. I probably have been looked over for at work, or I don't know. I honestly can't point to it. I usually can't see all the disappointments I've had in my career working in finance, for example. In my opinion, has been down to either me not being as competent as I should be, or me not be the best candidate for the role. I don't think I have gone for a role or anything like that where they looked at me and solely said, "Oh, it's because you're not black." I don't think so. It could be, it's because you're black, we're not going to take you. But I don't think so. But that's the way I view it. I just tend to just go with that. Listen, you weren't the best candidate. The better candidate got the role, and I just get on with it. Is it a coping mechanism? I don't know. I just don't like to overrate myself. One
could say maybe it's the fact that you're taking on the responsibility of always saying, like, if it doesn't happen for me, it's because I am not adequate enough. Someone might argue that it could be because of not that sense of otherness you bring from not being from there, per se.
Yeah.
And then another one could be perhaps, they might not communicate that to you in clear words, but it could still be some discriminatory, practices going on. It might not be in all cases, but again, I think it's the uniqueness. It's the uniqueness of the UK in the sense that your brand of racism, like I heard, is different from here,
It's not in your face.
It's not in your face.
It's very polite.
Even though I trained in Harvard, exactly, I trained in Harvard. Even Nigeria is not without its problem. We're a bunch of very classist people, and the way we do, these are human problems. So, for those that are listening, when I try to say UK, US is bad or anything like that, people are just gonna be horrible wherever the country is gonna be from. But there are just 100%. Some unique, characteristics we're trying to tease out. But anyways, I think enough about that. So it seems like you started your own business, right? So you're an entrepreneur, it seems.
Yes. It's been kind of like a funny journey for me. So I was working with Deloitte up until February this year, and then it was a contract role. That contract came to an end, and then I really didn't enjoy working during the lockdown. I'm not gonna lie. It was exhausting, and I've never really liked. I've I've never really liked the whole corporate life, the whole dressing up and, going to work and smiling with people that you really
don't like,
be bothered to, people you don't like, and small talk and, and you have to do it because, you have to. So when I had finished, the NFT space was just taking off. I'd been hearing about the NFT space. I was already involved in a way. And I was just I'd already been involved in cryptocurrencies since 2017. So it was easy for me to kind of like see. It was easier for me to see what NFTs was about. Well, even then, at first, I didn't understand what was happening. But what I told myself was, I missed out a lot on the crypto. Even though I was in crypto in 2017 and I made money, I missed out a lot of the first crypto bull market because I was looking to understand everything first before jumping in. But I decided to change the way I work now, which is to learn what I do. Just get in, know just a little enough to dip your toe in and just get in. So currently, what I'm doing is primarily I've always wanted to be a collector. I've wanted to be an art collector. I've always wanted to own art. So, and I saw this unique opportunity that arts were being they're digital. So I still live in a flat. I'm not rich enough to have like a
gallery, a wall,
a gallery of my own yet. So I was like, this just makes it so easy. It's the same reason why I don't buy hardcover books anymore. I only buy a few hardcover. Most of my books are on my Kindle because I can carry 14,000 books and just on my tablet. So essentially, I said, this is brilliant. This is perfect. I like to do it. I like collectibles generally, and I love to collect art. And then this is an exciting market. And then fortunately, I got, I was part of some of the most iconic NFT projects so far.
Was it the Defiance one that you guys did recently?
The Defiance one was our project. I'm talking about an NFT that I collected. Yes, an NFT that I collected. So it was quite. It's actually probably up in the top 3 or top 4 NFTs at the moment in terms of like how iconic, how strong the brand is.
Congratulations!
Right.
Thank you very much. You're sitting on millions potentially.
Amen. One of the things I've noticed, I've looked at it historically, when the internet started, the early players were rewarded for being early.
Yeah.
So you get rewarded for being early. So, and a 9-to-5 job is going to really be distracting because the way this space moves, you just have to be able to have access. You're literally just following the news and then you're following. So I follow certain people on Twitter now that drop actionable info and I just react on it quite quickly.
Okay. So I'll give myself credit. I know some things, right? But I will be very honest to say that when it comes to like crypto, and I think we kind of had a little bit of chat about this before we hit the record button.
Yeah.
Crypto, even the name itself is very cryptic to me, and I like to see where my money is, not like something that is abstract up in the air. And I know crypto was, still gaining ground before they added, NFT. So NFT for me is almost like from the guys who brought you crypto. Here is this new thing we don't all understand. So maybe just,
esoteric. It's esoteric.
I do get the concept, right? And I think even as a creative, is the opportunity for you to give your consumers almost like a stake in your creativity. And so I understand that it's something that, holds some form of value. Even though by me selling something, via NFT, it doesn't mean that the buyer has like creative rights over it. So can you just unpack, dumb it down for people like me? what's cryptocurrency and the blockchain, Ethereum, where it seems like it's housing all this blockchain, and why do countries like China have issues with crypto? And then NFT, what's that about?
You actually are I'm not even going to lie, you are well educated. In fact, as a matter of fact, you sound more educated on it than some people that I know. I'm serious.
Oh, thank you.
Than some people I know that are in this space. I'm dead serious. I'm not even.
Maybe I should start investing in it. It's just that I'm very old school in my thinking.
You actually nailed. You pretty much nailed it.
Oh, really?
I'm not even gonna. Maybe the only thing that you haven't nailed is NFT part of it.
Okay.
But so I'll start with crypto. What are cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are simply just digital currencies. That's all. Programmable money. Essentially, before now, money had to be fiat. And what's happened is that we've now had a system, a way where programs have been able to, where scientists have been able to create value within a network. And because there's value on the network, they've now created tokens on that network, which we had no other way nothing else to call them but to give them the name cryptocurrency. Genuinely, really and truly, they're actually tokens. So it's like how you play a game, or it's like how you go to the casino, for example. Those who go to the casino, you get this quite quickly. You go to the counter or something and you get chips, and you pay money and you get chips. Now those chips now represent money on the table. You don't play with real money, do you? You play with chips as money. That's exactly what cryptocurrencies are. So imagine the crypto world, imagine the table where you gamble as the network. Let's use Bitcoin as an example. Imagine the table as Bitcoin and the chips as the Bitcoin token. So I'll quickly do something. There is Bitcoin capital B, the network. Then there's Bitcoin small letter b,
the currency,
the token. Yeah. So that's it. That's what cryptocurrencies are. They're just happening within. It's just money that has been created to be used on a particular network. Now, what's happened is that the reason why it's become also valuable now is that I'll give you Bitcoin Zone quite quickly. So imagine, let's go back to this casino example. Imagine that we have this casino that has a capped number of chips, right? Like there are only 50 chips in this casino. And every day more and more people are coming in with more money everyone wants to play in this casino. But this casino only has 50 chips and they are doing no more. Guess what happens to the value of each casino? It goes up because more money is pouring in.
Yeah.
And there's a capped supply. So that is essentially the selling point of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is programmed such a way that, and it's open source, not controlled by anybody, such a way that once it gets to 20 million tokens, there will be no more Bitcoins being mined. We're currently at 18 million. So I think we have from now until like 2025. And there will be no more new Bitcoins. It will simply be... That's it. And most Bitcoins right now, as I speak to you, are in cold storage of billionaires and millionaires. They are off network, off exchanges. So they're scarce. They're becoming scarcer and scarcer every day. So the main selling point for Bitcoin is that it is money. The dollar and your typical currencies have been debased so much by the government.
Yeah.
Because of the printing and because of...
And even the transaction like across borders, right? Like Naira to dollar and all that is always going to be, determined by who's stronger at the particular moment of that transaction.
Exactly. But just imagine this, right? So I read something somewhere that I think 20% of all the dollar that's ever been printed was minted in the last 18 months, the sheer amount of dollars that have been thrown at the system. I'm not sure about the figure. Don't quote me, please. But there's a ridiculous amount of money. To give you context, about $3 trillion has been printed over the last 24 months. Printed and poured into the system. For people who own a lot of money, and for what that does to your savings is that it erodes your purchasing power, because with more money comes, and that's why we're having inflation right now. That's why inflation is one of the major factors behind inflation right now. Obviously, there are other issues like the supply chain shocks and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of money there's more money chasing the same number of goods and services. So inflation is bound to happen. So the value of your money is being eroded. So people are running to Bitcoin, as they usually do, to gold, and as they usually do to move to other like hard assets, right? Arts and things like that, as a store of value. Now let me switch to Ethereum. Ethereum is slightly different from Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we don't know. We don't know who made it. The group, we don't know who Satoshi is.
I was about saying the Japanese guy. They found someone like him in San Francisco, but he wasn't the one.
Yeah. No one knows who Satoshi is or who they are. So, because
Satoshi Nakamoto, I think that's his name or something.
We don't know if it's a group of people or if it's one person. But with Ethereum, we know is Buterin Vitalik, a Belarusian American. Is it Belarusian or Russian? I think it's Russian or Ukrainian. One of those. Not important. He's American. He founded Ethereum in 2013. He decided to go in a slightly different direction from Bitcoin. Ethereum decided to go in a slightly different direction from Bitcoin to create what is called smart contracts, so as to enable all sorts of applications to be built on their network. And that is what has led to where Ethereum is today. Ethereum is now the most, in my opinion, from a utility point of view, the most important cryptocurrency, because without Ethereum, there will be no NFTs.
Yeah.
Without Ethereum, there will be no decentralized finance that is going on right now.
Yeah.
Without Ethereum, there will be no... there are all sorts that are built on the Ethereum. At least the last time I checked, there are 2,000 different projects, thriving projects, some of them billion-dollar projects, all built on the Ethereum network. So you have banking, you have finance, you have even tax reporting applications built on the Ethereum network. The Ethereum network, just like Bitcoin, has an open and distributed ledger that records has a record of all the transactions on it. So everything from the beginning, from 2013 till today, you can go do your audit. Okay. You can know what happened. Yeah. So if you know someone's wallet, for example, you can go to, there's a website you can go to, it's called etherscan.io, and you can put in their address and pull up all the transactions they've done.
Okay. I mean, so 3 criticisms which I think we can explore. One would be anytime because crypto was beginning to look like those MLM scams that was, running at one point. And you know how Nigerians can be, they just get on something before everybody wants to come and buy crypto. I ain't buying nothing until I know what's going on. That's one criticism. 100%. And number 2 would be, so I know with NFTs, because of just the amount of work that goes into validating those blockchain transactions, that have been done on the blockchain. There being some criticisms about, energy cost and the effect on carbon footprint. So that's number 2. And then number 3, which I think we can unpack, would be the case of that guy. I think he was, I think we're talking about him earlier on. Is it Stephen Thomas or Stefan Thomas? Yeah, the one who lost his password and he had kept it on, I think, a hard drive, iron key, which is impenetrable. It's military grade hardware, impervious to all attacks, and he's still not able to recover the password. And and he was being paid, in Bitcoins, I think since 2000 and, was it 2007 or 2000 and thereabout, before it even became a big thing, right? And,
because of 2009, sorry.
Yes, of 2009. Now, I mean, he's lost currently, unless he finds that password, $256 million. So let's break down those three key criticisms. Like, I'm very worried of, following the crowd, and it seems like it's becoming super saturated in the, Bitcoin NFT world. And number two would be, just the effect on the environment as a whole. And then finally would be losing your password. So what do you have to say about those 3 points?
We'll start with losing your I'll start with the last one, actually.
Yeah.
Losing your passphrase. Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, I've got nothing. I actually can't. I've got no soothing answer for that, because the idea behind. So I'll back up a little bit to what led to Bitcoin. I mean, there had been attempts at creating a truly decentralized form of money before Bitcoin. There was 2004, there was 2006. I've forgotten the scientist now. He's now late. He had.
Is it Halfini?
Yeah, Halfini. Yeah. He'd been. In fact, many people think that he's Satoshi.
Yeah.
Some people think that he's Satoshi.
He lived a few blocks from Satoshi. Yeah.
So now there have been many attempts before now, but what made Bitcoin really take off was the fact that it finally solved some of the problems that they had. They finally were able to make it truly decentralized. That was one. And then secondly, we just had the worst economic recession since the Great Depression, which showed a lot of things, that we couldn't trust the banks. Banks were betting against their customers, right? Imagine that. Banks were selling products to their customers and betting against them.
It's like a doctor taking a bet against you. Like, where's the hope?
It's just ridiculous. And people don't realize what the import of that, So people had lost hope in the banking system, but there was no alternative. And there comes this guy promising that ultra safe money, ultra sound money, ultra hard money can't be broken, can't be duplicated. It is scarce, and money should be scarce. Those are the fundamental attributes of money. So the idea behind decentralization of banking or going bankless is that you are now your own bank. So I'm sorry, like every bank, you're responsible for your bank. So it's like a bank saying their vault got locked. Somebody did the combination to the vault. Somebody set the combination to the locks, and the person died with the information. I'm sorry, everyone's going to be like, okay, and then we want to get our money, please. Thank you very much. So if you're now your own bank, it comes with it. You can't, if you're now your own bank, if you're saying no more, away with you banks, you're now your own bank, it comes with the responsibility of being your own bank.
So
100% banking, be your own bank 101. Being your own bank 101 is, if you lose your keys,
that's the end.
Sorry. That's the end. There are loads of horror stories in this space, but there are more good stories than there are horror stories. Loads of lives changed and all of that. So it's good. You have to take the good with the bad, unfortunately. And those are the nasty stories. And what I would say to people that are listening is that you don't take the outline. Those are the outliers.
Yeah.
Those are the outlier stories. Not many people have that. Not many people who were in Bitcoin space have lost their keys.
But have made that much? As a word.
I've made.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, trust me, people have made that much.
Oh, really?
Trust me.
Is that like the norm to make that much?
Trust me, there are people sitting on a lot of money and they're just quiet. There's so many Bitcoin owners, so many wallets that they've not been a single transaction on their wallet since like almost 10 years ago. Some they're just quiet. They don't need it. Just like, yeah, there's no need. Don't, you don't touch it, you don't get no problems.
It's
just
crash one day and then it loses value. Do you think that can ever happen?
It's happened.
I know it went down a while, but it came back up again.
Yeah. To give you context, when it hit $20,000 in 2017 at its height, $19,000, almost $20,000 in 2017, it crashed from there back to like below $10,000. That's 50%.
Wow.
And then I think in 2019 it crashed to like $3,000 at some point. It's volatile. It's not for the faint-hearted.
It's
not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the faint. No, I will tell people now because it's an emerging sector and industry.
Yeah,
it is not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah,
and also it's all about timing, and it's all about not trying to be clever. So, when do you get in? How much are you exposed to it? So, for example, we always tell people start small. Don't try when you hear stories of people, I just go into it with $10,000, with $1,000, and now it's now $50 million. Those stories, slap yourself whenever you hear those stories and just quickly shake it out of your head, because the human mind is very powerful. The moment you accept those stories, you not be like, I'm next in line. Not knowing that those are outliers. Those stories are just one in a million, and people are just lucky to time it. Most of the time, you never get the timing right. It's like you rightfully said, it's like gambling.
Yeah.
Getting it right all the time is not guaranteed. So that's what I'll say. Okay. And then on to the second question.
Yeah.
You said it was the environmental angle, right?
Yes.
I'm going to reverse.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. So with the environmental one, I would just say with Bitcoin, most of the Bitcoin mining, actually, what they're doing is they're not necessarily. It's not like they're sat in people's houses. These rigs are very, very expensive to get. So it's not like my computer in my house here just consuming electricity. What most of those mining rigs do is that they go to maybe like a hydro power station.
Yeah. And then set up,
or like a power plant. All the excess energy that is not being, all the energy that usually goes to waste is what they try to tap into and use to mine. That is actually what happens with a lot of the mining of Bitcoin. It's just an argument that they've used so much that everyone has taken it as fact that Bitcoin is leading to a loss of it's contributing to our carbon footprint. It's actually using energy that is already there. It's not like it's demanding more energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just still there. Energy. That will outlive fallen.
Consuming that would, yes, exactly. It's most of the mining rigs are set up such that they are making use of energy that would have otherwise been lost. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I'll stand corrected. But that's my understanding of it. I'm not really a Bitcoin guy, so that's the little bit I know about Bitcoin mining. I'll move on to Ethereum. And I know as an NFT person, I have every day I sit on Twitter. I get people, especially like they're artists who have a righteous anger at NFTs. With Ethereum network, we are moving from what is called the proof of work to proof of stake, which means that proof of work is what the mining that's currently going on is, which all the validation of every transaction that you talked about that consumes a lot of energy. That's true. I can't run away from it.
Yeah.
It consumes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But we're moving from that to proof of stake. We're moving from proof of work to proof of stake. Proof of stake reduces, for Ethereum, I can speak for Ethereum, reduces consumption by almost 99%.
Okay.
Energy consumption by almost 99%. Which then ends that whole argument of you are connecting, you are consuming energy. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I have to say. And then my counter argument to that is, whenever you watch Netflix on the train,
I know.
you're contributing to.
But I'm
You're
not
contributing
mining a whole energy level that can feed a whole family in sub-Saharan Africa, for example.
Well, if you yeah, I've got no answer to that. But I'm just saying that there's a counter argument to literally everything, even like your vegan to your vegan.
I know. It takes much more, like even like the organic stuff and all. At the end of the day, my cancel out, because when you're trying to produce like eco-friendly stuff, you're spending much more money, more time. But hey.
Soya is one of the major. Just as a quick digression, soya is one of the major ingredients in vegan meals. Yeah. To plant this massive soya farm. So guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to do a lot of clearing.
Yeah.
And what does that do? That leads to deforestation. So there are no easy answers, and that's the problem I have with people that come up with just you're contributing to this. Okay, so should we just shut up the whole industry that has created so much value for a lot of people?
And I think at the end of the day, it's just privilege, because if you're not hungry, right, you'll be thinking of ways to be eco-friendly. Because people that live in poverty are already eco-friendly. They don't even have like solar. They don't have these hybrid cars or anything like that. And so sometimes I roll my eyes when celebrities are trying to tell us what to do. Like, it's easy for you to start talking about green peace and green space and all that, because you already reached that. You've passed the Maslow hierarchy of needs. You've gone past 100%. That. Sometimes I still like the basic needs. So please don't trample on my right to exist and like this find happiness in life.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, NFTs, for example, have changed the lives of people around the world. People in Nigeria, people in. Imagine telling that person in Nigeria who's living under that despotic government right now, whose NFT has changed their life, that somehow they're contributing to climate change when, we have Saudi Arabia that you sell arms to.
I know, right?
That sells crude oil. I'm like, what? Are you having a laugh? You're actually having a laugh.
Yeah.
And it's such an annoying argument, to be honest, because anyway, but that's my answer to it. My answer to it is that for Ethereum, which is what houses this, which is a network that most NFTs are built, NFT platforms and NFT out of the NFT minting has been trading, buying and selling happens on. We're moving to proof of stake. It was meant to happen in June next year. I think it's been moved forward to March, sometime in the spring of next year. So we're looking to make that happen quicker, and so that we won't be having this conversation again. I
think like with most spaces, there's always the risk of it being dominated by extremists, and I'm beginning to see how there's this strong, and I know it's not everybody in the Bitcoin community. Some people are very quiet and low-key about it. There's just this, they're having this strong, giving this veganism vibes. It's beginning to look like this ultra religion group, that religious group you don't want to be a part of.
It is a religious group. Oh, no.
I'm glad you said that.
No. Oh, no. Oh, I have I'm in crypto.
Okay.
But crypto bros, as they call them. Oh my God!
Did I trigger?
No, the way no, my God! Especially Bitcoin. We call them Bitcoin maxis. Bitcoin maxis drone on and on. I follow some Bitcoin maxis. The only reason I still follow them is because they are very smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are actually very smart people, but they just drone on and on and on and on. They don't even believe that other cryptocurrencies are good enough. That's how bad some of them are.
Oh, jeez. Again, it's not like vegans, You're not vegan enough.
I'm like, what?
Because of the decentralization of it and the fact that you're taking away the government control, which, if you think about it, US, China, they all have that in common. The government still wants to exert some form of control on their people. China just has a different way of doing it. But again, at the end of the day, it's still control. So I see why, for example, I know China recently, they banned, trading of it. and making it even harder. So a lot of people in China have to go through different ways of having to trade their currencies. But what do you have to say about that? And then we can talk about NFT.
Yeah, China believes in centralization. So decentralization is just very anti and very diametrically opposed to how they view things. That's just the simple answer. I mean, there's just one person sitting on top and making all the decisions. There's a committee. There's a communist there. There's a communist. There's a China's the Communist Party. There's like a committee of. There's a committee, and then they answer to one man, and that's it. He makes a decision for like 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
So they believe Chinese people believe in collectivism, and it's just funny how whenever they say that, it just makes me laugh. I'm like, you say you believe in collectivism, but that collectivism is being determined by just a few people. How collective is that? Nah, that doesn't sound collectivist to me. But I don't know much. I'm not a CNO. I'm not educated enough in Chinese affairs to make an educated comments on their culture. But that's the bet China has made. They are betting that their own digital currency, which is the government which have rolled out already, their central bank digital currency will trump the Bitcoin currency. But the Western nations are having a slightly different approach to it, which is to try and regulate rather than outlaw these cryptocurrencies. So, for example, the SEC in the United States has started dialoguing with the crypto industry leaders. Even though the infrastructure bill that has been passed now, the law, contains some aspects that are harmful to crypto. There are already the potential bills that are being that are going to be presented in the House that would seek to repeal some of those anti-crypto provisions within the law before it comes into effect in 2024. The good thing is that there's now between now and 2024 before it comes in. So, I prefer the American approach to it. I am not one of those crypto people that don't want government that say, oh, we don't want government regulation. Government is bad. No. I want regulation. Regulation is good. It needs to be regulated because when it's regulated and all I ask for, all some of us ask for is common sense regulation. Don't over-regulate, but regulate firmly, and then regulate sensibly, but most importantly, regulate with how do I put it now? Through a fresh set of lenses. The truth of the matter is that you can't use the current rules that were set up for the 1920s to apply to, because currently how things stand, literally everything in the crypto space is classed as a security. That's not going to work, right? You can't tell an NFT as security. It's just not going to. It's art. If I buy an art in digital form, you cannot tell me that that's security. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So they need to catch up in terms of like laws. I think the Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, I think he suggested that there needs to be a whole new different government organ that actually deals with crypto and like all of the innovation coming out on now.
Yeah, they better include like crypto users, young people that can give them dynamic, younger, like not when I say young, I mean like people that are already in that space and they're forward thinking. Otherwise, it's just going to be more control over and over again.
100%. And then there needs to be what I call dynamic regulation. So the space is changing, is innovating at the speed of light. Like there's all sorts of new things coming up. Even I, as a crypto native, I can call myself that now. It's like I'm like, okay, what is this? Like even I'm seeing some things and I'm like, some products within the space and I'm like, what? So it's just a lot of things happening in the space, and I'm not gonna lie. the regulators in the West do have their jobs cut out for them, and I do feel for them, to be honest, because it almost feels like a whack-a-mole. It's like that's what it feels like, but they're gonna have to drop their way of the old way of thinking about regulation and try and look at it in a whole new set of ways. And because this completely, because I think what people need to realize is that what cryptocurrency represents is not just an innovation, it's actually a paradigm shift.
Yeah, from the status quo.
Because exactly, it's we're moving from centralization to decentralization.
It's kind of like how the internet evolved with time, right? And how is this, open space for us to communicate freely? How much more money, which is, like you said, it's been fiat for the longest time, but we've seen the risk with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, in places where there's no regulation. Now we can literally, own our own power in our hands and not have to rely on institutions that might be very, unreliable.
Yeah. So that's the way I see it. So I'm for regulation, and I think it should be regulated extensively.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's kind of wrap this conversation with NFTs. So whereas Bitcoin seems more fungible, meaning that it's kind of interchangeable in a way, and you can have that multiplied many times. NFTs are non-fungible. So and I've heard of things that have sold at a ridiculous amount of price. So that was that cat, the cat, like the popular meme, sold for how many $1 million was that for?
Like a meme.
Yeah, the meme. Yeah, and I know Jack, the head of Twitter, he was trying to sell his original tweets. I think
sold his first tweet for
something million,
$5 million
of worth of NFTs.
Yeah.
So I think my first encounter with NFT was a friend of mine who does spoken word, poetry, and she had made a painting, and she talked about how she sold her first NFT, and she kept talking about NFT. I'm like, what is this NFT again? So I googled it. I'm like, oh, it's actually an idea that for creative to create products that that their fans can feel like, oh, I have this unique thing, right? But like I said earlier on, that you're able to get something from your your favorite creator doesn't necessarily mean you have the creative rights to it. So, and I know you through your OHL you guys did something recently.
Ohale.
Yeah, sorry, Ohale. Thank you, Ohale. You did like a commemoration of the Lekki shooting, and you're able to do
we did an NFT,
yeah. So can you just explain the practical, the practicality of NFT, you being a creator and even a collector as well?
Yeah. So the practical NFTs are simple. It's just basically NFTs are like I think you've done most of my work for me already. So NFTs are
even though I felt like I was mumbling.
It was a brilliant. I loved the way you explained that fungibility, the fungibility of tokens, and I loved it.
Thank you.
Very good. So NFTs are just like you said, they're just digital assets. It could be art, like a friend. It could be tickets. I have NFTs that are tickets. You mentioned poetry. I actually have an NFT that is a poem.
A poem?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sonnet. Yeah. It's a poem. So just poem written on and just sold as a picture. So NFTs could be just about anything. I have an NFT that's a track, a rap music that's like 3 minutes long. I have an NFT that is 3D, 3-dimensional and all of that. I have an NFT that is generative. So I have this particular one where anytime you click on it, it changes shape and it never repeats the same shape once. So you have all sorts of NFTs. They're all different types of NFTs. And the practicality of it is very simple. With what we did with the Defiance and Hope project was we collaborated with an artist, a friend of mine called Akin Labi. He's based in Nigeria. So we wanted to mark the Lekki shooting in 2020. And we wanted to, demonstrate our support for it. it's still there. It's still available for it's still there on auction. But we are not, it's still something we're pursuing. So that's one, and we have another project coming up actually. So that's another one. But I just quickly wanted to touch on something you mentioned in terms of like having rights to when you buy. It depends. So I'll give you an example. The second project we're working on is actually a derivative of an NFT that we hold already. So some NFT projects actually give you they give you the exclusive rights to commercially reproduce it in any way, shape, or form. Use it for your merchandising, create other NFTs from it, do whatever you want to do with it, and make money with it. So I'll give you an example. So Bored Ape, so one of the most iconic, so the NFT, I'm going to say it now. The NFT project I bought in was Bored Ape Yacht Club. Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now, the Bored Ape Yacht Club gave us the exclusive rights to use our Bored Ape in any way, shape, or form commercially that we wanted to do. So if you wanted to create like a t-shirt with it, fine, go ahead. If you want to create sneakers with it, go on. If you want to create an NFT with it, and many people have done that. People have created thousands of NFTs from just that one NFT. So it depends. If the originator of the if the person that owns the NFT gives you the right to reproduce it commercially, yeah, by all means, you're free to do it. So, but if they don't, obviously, then you don't have the right. So that's that. I might touch on that, and then go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, and in terms of like buying NFT, get into the NFT space. The practicalities of it are simple. You just need to be on social media. Just follow certain people. Put notifications. If you're not the type that is on social media a lot, put notifications on. Yeah, Twitter. Put notifications on for them. Only go on Twitter when you see the notification from them. See what they have to say. If it's actionable intel, you take action. If it's not, you continue with what you're doing. And then there's Clubhouse. You go on Clubhouse. There are loads of NFT clubs on Clubhouse. You join them. Show up every now and then. Join the conversations. There's a lot of info, a lot of education happening in those spaces, and the same thing with Twitter spaces, and that's it. Thanks. Then maybe if you see a project you like, you can, if they have a Discord server, you join the Discord group. That's sort of practice. So Clubhouse, Twitter, Discord, that's it. That's it. That's all you need. That's how it works. That's how I've gotten most of the projects I've been into. That's how I've gotten into that.
Yeah, I imagine it kind of started gaining more traction because energy is not really a new concept. I think the first project was sometime in 2015. I guess with the lockdown, it helped a lot of creatives find innovative ways to, connect more with their fans and to also earn money because you can't be going out on the streets. Now, let's just, because we've been talking a lot. I think it's going to end up being a podcast about crypto and Bitcoin, but it's really been very helpful for me. So I think to just wrap up the conversation would just be, I guess, what's the future like for you? I know you're really trying to, haven't like left your job at Deloitte and trying to like find your way and, doing your thing and NFT and crypto and all that. What do you think the future will be like for you?
I think the future for me is more collecting, more investing, and I want to write more about the space. I want to become like a writer within the space. Those are kind of like the three main areas I want to create value within the space. Write about my thoughts about the space, and then obviously I want to invest because that's where the real value is. Because there are a lot of brilliant people in the space. So if I can invest in like platforms that are solving that are creating new ways and avenues to empower people. Imagine I wish I had money to invest in like OpenSea, for example. Imagine I had I'll be like, yes, I'll be like, I made it. But, but that's kind of like where I want to, that's kind of like the future for me. Invest in some of the platforms that are coming up at the angel stage level. If I'm able, that's my dream, to be able to get in at this, to get in at the seed stage and see how it goes, while I still keep collecting and occasionally trading NFTs. I'm still doing crypto on the side and stuff like that.
Where can they find you? And your people?
Okay, it will be best to catch me on Twitter, because we don't have what we've done. We don't have a group. Me and my friend, we've decided that it's just going to be a hassle to either run a WhatsApp group or anything like that. So, so you can follow me on Twitter at I am the Choco.
I am Choco.
I'm Choco.
Okay, and I'll put that in the show notes. So to put you on the spot, I feel like we're kind of in the, what's the word? We're at risk of losing, like, conversations, between the genders. And so for men who might be listening to this and trying to feel like they don't fit in the world they're currently living, and it seems to me that you tend to have this confidence, that I don't see in some.
Oh, thank you.
So for men that might be battling with that, how do you suggest that again? Because I feel like what you hear about masculinity these days is just, and I go don't you guys have dads? Don't you have brothers? Don't you even have, someone you're married to? Because there's no way I want to throw, masculinity under the bus as, totally toxic, for example. Like when they say, oh, men are this and toxic masculinity. Do I think that some men have behaved badly? Of course. The same way I think that women 100%. Have behaved badly, but I don't see men as the enemy. I see that for us to have a better world, we both need each other, right? And for me, I don't think the future is female. I hate seeing that slang everywhere. The future can be female. You need men. So
the future is woman.
I know. We hardly have men come on the show, so I'm not going to ask you to talk about women. I want to just talk about you being a man. How do you really get that confidence to traverse the world in a world that is trying to say you are the toxic one?
Right. It's I don't even see myself as being the confident person, but I guess it's how we have. I think we're worst critics, aren't we? Usually. So, but what I'll say, how I navigate the world where it says that men are toxic, is to see what I try to do is I try to look at it from a factual point of view. Are some of the accusations that have been made, are they true? Yes, they are true. Men are naturally stronger than women. It's a fact. It's a documented fact that men on the average are stronger than women. So, I think what's happened now is that to the conversation it isn't that we haven't been having this conversation. It's just that we're now having it on such an aggregated way that this conversation is now happening in front of 4 billion people at the same time.
And the speed of the internet.
The speed of the internet. TikTok and all of that. So that's just the difference. We've been having the same conversations since. It's just that they're now happening in front of the whole world. And because of that, the multiplier effect of it is now beginning to... Before now, it used to be life was imitating the arts.
Now life and arts not different.
Now life is... In fact, art is now imitating the life. Like it's like a feedback loop now, where life is imitating the art and art is imitating life and life is imitating the art and life and art is imitating life and so on and so forth. There's that loop right now because you're not having. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, TikTok is the world's biggest movie studio. No, honestly, they are creating amazing actors and actresses on that platform. So to answer your question, I partly, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like I'm goody two shoes. I do genuinely accept that. I do genuinely accept my male privilege. I do accept that as a male, I can go out for a walk after talking to you now.
Yeah,
this is 9
then
o'clock.
go for that walk at night.
I can go for that walk. I can go for that walk and come back, and I'm not really, I do look around me sometimes. I do try to be conscious of my surroundings, right? Don't get me wrong. I mean, men too get jumped and get beaten, but the tendency is that it's women that get attacked more. So, and when I go for my walks, I usually see the situation where I'm walking into maybe two women walking in my direction, and all of a sudden they see me, and then they cross to the other side of the road. Before now, it used to make me angry, and I used to say it's because I'm black, or especially if they were white girls, they're being racist, it's because I'm black and all that. But then I began to hear some of these horror stories of women being raped and killed and all of that. And then the last one that happened that really a policeman did a fake arrested this woman. Yeah, it happened earlier this year in London. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, in the UK. He did a fake arrest and took this woman to
I think and then she died, right? I think I think I heard about it. This was during lockdown. I'm a true crime buff. I heard that story. Yeah, she went for a walk. I think to buy something in the store. So yeah.
Now, when that's happening by a policeman who's supposed to be law and order, you can imagine what an average Joe like me will come across to. So that's kind of the way I view that kind of situation, and I honestly just accept that as a male. I'm privileged. And I'm conscious of it to the best of my knowledge. Obviously, I also understand that sometimes the conversation can get so pushed to the other extreme. We do have extremes, but I get it. We are with everything there are extremes. What I try to do is not to focus on the extremes. People that go on and on with the extremes. I just know that they are trying to just looking for attention, or they are actually crying for help. So either of those two things. So my policy, I know people like that on Twitter, for example. I just muted them because I know they're not there for a genuine conversation. So I just mute them. I just don't want to. I'm not listening to. But I'm ready to have uncomfortable conversations with people that want to have those comfort. And I think that's it's an uncomfortable place to be. I think the thing with us human beings is that we're inherently lazy. Our bias is to just lean to one side and just take that side. But the best place to be is to maintain a constant state of balance, which is hard. It's
hard, and you have to be ready to kill that thing inside of you that feels like this is the only right way,
Yeah. That constant state of saying, listen, we can walk this tightrope. We can walk and chew, like the saying. Yeah. We can walk and chew at the same time. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's kind of that's how I see it. I acknowledge my privilege. I'm happy to have these conversations. Yeah. I know there are extremes. I don't pay attention to the extremes.
Yeah. I think it's just...
They annoy me.
Oh, no, I imagine, even on both sides, because from a female perspective, I'm I can't buy into that. Because buying into that will really be against everything that I've known and I believe strongly in. And that is, people are good, people are bad, regardless of gender or whatever spaces they inhabit. And so I'm always very worried about, and even as a scientist, I'm always worried about absolutes, all men are this. No, I'm not going to buy into that narrative. But I believe that as a female, I have had my perspective challenged because I know that sometimes what I deem to be truthful might not necessarily be the real truth, because a lot of our ideas are formed by our culture, how we were raised, the religion we ascribe to. But there are absolute truths about, for example, being good. That's an absolute truth, that regardless of what has been done to you, be a good person, and you define what that means. Yeah. But as far as dealing with other people, I've just learned that to try to give that space. Am I always, very gracious? No. I do have my moments. I'm deeply flawed as a human being. But I believe that we should 100%. Still give that space for not knowing what we know, and knowing that the truth you think you have you might not inhabit, those spaces right now. Are you open to challenging those truths that you held so deeply and exploring what the other person's perspective would be about? But anyways, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. I'm really done with all of my questions, and I think it was worth the wait. We've talked a lot. I could keep talking to you about all kinds of things, and I want to say thank you so much. Really? Thanks a lot.
No, you're very much welcome. And I'm honored to be here. This is an amazing thing that you're doing, and I like that we're having these kind of conversations. They're important because as a society, we're not having this kind of conversation. We need to have these conversations more and more, and less of the other trite and combative kind of conversations that we tend to have these days.
Yeah.
But it's not exciting. The conversation we've had now is enriching, but it's not exciting. It's not. Let me not say exciting. It's exciting, but it's not. How do I put it? It's not controversial. And controversy sells.
Even the things that we don't agree on, we should have space to kind of just listen and be like, what, I really don't agree with that, but it's okay. You share your opinion, and I'll listen to you.
That's how it should be, really.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that I think the wrong mindset is when people go into an argument or a conversation to win, to beat the other person over with a cut.
What have you learned, though? You just go home looking more stupid, Yeah.
And people are being truthful to themselves. When they go home and actually ruminate over what ruminate over what the other person has said, they will realize that there's some truths into it's uncomfortable, but when you actually do some reflection, you realize that it's not possible for the person you're having an argument to not have any point at all.
Yeah. I think they know.
It's almost.
I think they know, because I've caught myself getting super defensive when somebody calls something out in me that I'm not comfortable with. So I deem them the liar, And this is just me putting myself on the spot.
And then when you walk away,
I walked away, it stayed with me dang, So on a religious level, you're calling out the idols in me, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that. So rather than me taking that, I'm going to label you as that. And I think it's the same thing with cancel culture. The people that are always forefront of it, they're usually like, why you don't even know this person personally. I get it, they said something wrong, but why are you asking for their head? Have you never really, said something wrong? Let's go dig through your tweets. I'm sure you said something 10 years ago when Twitter was not a thing.
How are you? This sounds like something that happened. What you just said now happened just a few weeks ago. And I was just like, wow.
I know the internet never forgets. Again,
the internet never forgets.
Do we have to
be graceful?
That's it.
We just need to learn to be graceful and just try. What is this person actually saying?
Yeah.
Right. I think even as I speak today, I still have to learn that myself, because, for example, there are people that I don't even want to listen to right now.
Yeah. I mean, spot on giving people grace. We need it, when we fall. I mean, do we have to hold people accountable? For sure. But then when you're holding them accountable, don't come off like you've never sinned. Chances are maybe your stuff are not on tweets, but I bet if we were to look at your search engines or your text to your friends, are you going to be spotless? I don't think so. Anyways, this was good, Glenn. Thank you so much for your time.
It was.
And
that's no problem. You're very much welcome.
We should do this again. Maybe come and explore deeply on how the NFT space is going and your current ventures, and all the best with your auction. I hope it hits the maximum and critical threshold that you're looking for.
Thank you. Amen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sibyl podcast. Well, guess what? There's plenty more where that came from. So visit our website at www.mosibyl.com. That is www.mosibyl.com, where you can find hours of other binge-worthy episodes just like this one. And while you're at it, please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcast or Podbean, as it encourages other awesome people like you to listen to the podcast as well. We are now officially on Podbean. It has an app. You can catch up on missed episodes and also get a notification when we have new episodes. Do you have a question for our guest, feedback on the episode, or a suggestion for a future guest? Then please get in touch with us by sending us an email at talktomo@mosibyl.com or connect with us via Instagram at the More Sibyl Podcast. Cannot wait to hear from you, and thank you so much for always listening.